Hi, everybody. It's November, and we're enjoying our beautiful fall weather, getting ready to work through the next few months of our unwinter, preparing to have a good time and do something really great next spring at the Chandler Relay for Life. How appropriate that the American Cancer Society refers to this as the seasons of hope. So what is the relay? The relay is the opportunity for you and me and about 1,000 of our closest friends to get together for a party. We'll start on Saturday afternoon and continue non-stop through the night until the early morning hours of Sunday. You'll be able to decorate your tent and your campsite, eat, listen to the music, sing if you care to. I won't, I promise. Walk and talk with cancer survivors and caregivers while you have a great time. So why do we relay? We relay to honor those who have survived cancer, who are undergoing treatment, and to remember those who lost the battle as we support the American Cancer Society's goals of funding research, education, and patient services in the continuing fight against the more than 100 different types of cancer. Why do I relay? I relay to honor my friends Marie Fulmer and Bill Becker, and my cousins Leslie Middleman and Steve Goldberg. And I relay to remember my Goomba, John Petrone, and my friend Frank Sims. So what are we doing here tonight? I believe we are taking the most important first step in the fight against cancer. We are helping to make sure the future of defeating cancer will be assured, making sure we live in a world where people will not die from cancer. And we won't be satisfied until cancer never again steals another season of hope from anyone's life. So how did I get here? On July 2nd, 1988, I began experiencing severe pains on my right side, which over the next few days radiated around my back to my left side. When I went to the doctor, excuse me, he suspected it was a gastrointestinal disorder because of my symptoms. And over the next 2.5 months, while that horrendous pain persisted, my doctor sent me to many specialists, none of whom could find the cause of the pain. One doctor even told me he thought I was imagining the pain, which was his way of saying that he thought I was addicted and all I wanted was a prescription for the narcotic pain meds. Finally, in September 1988, my doctor told me a bone scan showed some damage to my spine, and a lung scan showed what he termed was an infection in some lymph nodes in my chest. He also told me he was putting me into the hospital, because he explained that due to the damage to my spine, if I even sneezed too hard, I could have severed my spinal cord and become a paraplegic. A few days later, on September 25th, 1988, with tears in his eyes, my doc told us those words I'll never forget. What we have here is malignant. As he said those words, I had what has been described as a near-death experience. I was surrounded by a translucent, foggy tunnel, and I felt like I was moving or tumbling through that tunnel. I didn't see or talk with anyone, and although it felt like it lasted for a while, it was probably only 1 or 2 seconds. But when I focused again on the hospital room, I knew I wasn't going to die from the cancer. I felt like I had already died, and God brought me back to life. So the first thing I asked my doc was, how do we fight it? I came out fighting, and I've been fighting ever since. But there's 2 things I've never done. I've never asked why me. Because that implies why not somebody else, and that just isn't right. And I've never asked how long do I have to live. I decided that I would live my life to the fullest and enjoy the ride as long as it lasted. And I knew that when God is ready for me, then it'll be my time. The cancer, which more specifically was a metastatic stage 4 diffuse large cell non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, started in my spinal canal. The tumor, which was about 1 inch long, was pressing on my spinal cord, and that's what caused all the pain. The cancer fractured 2 vertebrae in my spine, destroyed the disc between them, and then spread into my chest and spleen. I underwent 12 weeks of chemo, followed by 12 days of radiation therapy to my spine. And the chemo was a combination of 8 different drugs, along with 3 anti-nausea drugs, because the cancer was a very aggressive type of cancer. Because of the damage to my spine, I had to wear a steel brace for 9 months whenever I was out of bed, which wasn't too often. I spent almost 23 hours a day in bed for most of the year to allow my spine to heal. Luckily, the 2 fractured vertebrae, which now had no disc between them, collapsed on each other and fused themselves, so surgery was not necessary. I was out of work for a little over a year, and it took me a couple of years to get comfortable learning how to walk with my good friends, my walking lumber. And just for good measure, I became an insulin-dependent diabetic a year after the cancer. 6 other discs in my spine have ruptured. I'm anemic, I have sleep apnea, and I was just recently diagnosed with valley fever. But you know what? I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I'm lucky because the cancer caused the pain. Had I not experienced that pain and begun to search for the cause of it, the cancer would have continued to spread, and I would not have lived probably more than another 3 months. I'm lucky because my doctors and nurses, technicians and aides all had a part in me becoming a cancer survivor. I'm lucky because of my family and friends who stuck with me throughout the chemo and radiation and continuing all these years. I'm lucky because of my mom and dad and grandma who taught me how to be strong and deal with adversity. I'm lucky because of the courage of my son. He knew something serious was happening, so he studied hard in school and went on to college where he graduated with honors. And I'm lucky because of my wife. For the hell I put her through, for the care she gave and continues to give to me, she deserves every superlative in the English language and then some. And I've said it so many times, if we had saints in the Jewish religion, I'd put her up for deification. I'm lucky because I've been given the ultimate second chance, the second chance at life. And I'm lucky because of all of you, and all the people like you, who have supported the fight against cancer for so many years. Your support and participation in activities like this relay are so important to so many people. Cancer survivors and patients, their husbands and wives, their children, their brothers and sisters, their family and friends, their employees and co-workers, their priests and rabbis. Your support is important to the more than 500,000 people who will be diagnosed with cancer this year. With your support, our dollars will fund the American Cancer Society researchers, 44 of whom have received the Nobel Prize, and who will lead us to the discovery of that seemingly elusive thing that we all hope for, the cure. With your support and dollars, our dollars will fund the education and patient services that the American Cancer Society provides to make sure that if you or a loved one has to face what many of us have already gone through, the most up-to-date information for early detection, prevention, and treatment for each type of cancer will be available. With your support, our dollars make possible events like the Relay for Life and Making Strides Against Breast Cancer, which, by the way, will be held this Saturday in Tempe Beach Park. With your support, we will fight this monster known as cancer and tell our family, friends, and neighbors with their help, we will eradicate the word cancer from the vocabulary. Earlier this year, as Shelley referred to, with more than 1,000 registered participants in more than 100 teams, our Chandler Relay raised $120,000. I challenge you now to get more participants and more teams and raise $150,000 in our relay next spring. So on behalf of all cancer patients and survivors, I thank you for your continuing part in the fight against cancer. I am alive thanks to what you and so many others like you have done for so many years. And finally, let me leave you with these words that truly define how I approach life. Cancer may have robbed me of that blissful ignorance that once led me to believe that tomorrow stretched forever. In exchange, I've been granted the wisdom to see each today as something special, a gift to be used wisely and fully, and nothing can take that away. I am Alan Saban, and I'm a 22-year cancer survivor.